Hi, welcome to a quick tutorial about neutral pelvis. This is something I will refer to in all of my videos when we're doing ab work, and I just wanted to go through it real quick so that you can watch this video once and know what I am talking about when I refer to it in the future. So I like to do all of my ab work in neutral pelvis whenever I'm lying on my back in order to strengthen the transverse abdominis, which is the deepest layer of the abdominal muscles. In order to do that, I like to set people up where they have their two hip bones and pubic bone in the same plane, and they're using their lower abs to really hold that together. I'm just going to show you standing, and then we'll get on the mat. So if you think about it and you put your heels of your hands on your hip bones and then you connect your fingertips and you place the fingertips down on your pubic bone, we now have a triangle on the front of our body. So there's the triangle. And in order to be in a proper neutral pelvis, you want to take what is a slacked back here where you have that arch in your lower spine and think of pulling your lower abs in and up to draw the pubic bone forward, so now your fingertips are on the same plane as the heels of your hands. So now your pubic bone and your hip bones are all in alignment. What a lot of people do is they overcorrect by squeezing their glutes and push that pubic bone forward. And so now I'm not using my lower abs to hold this position. I'm pushing forward from my glutes, and then I'm getting really tight in the hip flexors. And so I can be in this pushed forward position, and a lot of people think of it as like driving their lower back into the mat. I'm not using my abs at all. And so I really, really like the neutral pelvis because I'm able to use the lower abs to align the pelvis. I'm firing through all of this lower ab here. I'm not using the hip flexors in the front, and I'm not using the glutes in the back. And so this is really a solid place for those abs. And so again, if you're not using anything at all, you're in this little ducktail position where your booty's out behind you, your pubic bone's behind the hip bones. And then if you go through the center, you're in that neutral pelvis, everything's in line, I'm feeling those abs. And if you overcorrect by squeezing the glutes and thinking about pushing that lower back into the mat, then you're in this tucked position where your pubic bone is forward, and then it's going to reflect in the rest of your posture. You become this slouched posture. All right, so I'm going to show you what that looks like down on the mat. So here we are on our backs, and we're going to go into that same position with the heels of the hands on the hip bones. Connect those fingertips, fold it down on the pubic bone. I'm going to have you with your knees bent, feet flat for this example. It just gives you a little bit more room in the pelvis if you have any tight hamstrings. And so from here, I'm all even and trying to keep the ribs connected and the ribs down. That's very important when you're going through your neutral pelvis positions. You want to imagine that you have a bowl of water sitting on top of this triangle on your hands. And so if you're in a neutral position where the two heels of the hands and the fingertips are all even and on the same plane, you're not spilling any water out of that bowl. As soon as you go into your tucked position, if you press that lower back into the mat and squeeze those glutes, you're spilling water into your belly button. And if you go the opposite direction, where you're in an arched lower spine, you're spilling water through your legs here. And returning back to neutral, I do have a little bit of space under my lower back. As long as my ribs are connected, that little space is okay. We're actually doing the ab work here in order to strengthen these abdominals that go all the way around and to give a little bit more support to our spine and to our internal organs. And so it's okay to have that little bit of curve in the lumbar spine. You just don't want to be so curved that you're spilling water, and then we don't want to be tucked so much that you're spilling it into your belly button. If you do this properly and you take your hands behind your head, as you close the ribs to curl up, I didn't spill any water out of my pelvis. My pelvis is still where I wanted to be. So a lot of people, when they're new to Pilates, as they do their curls, they come into these tucked positions in their pelvis. if you see that you've done that, if you curl up and you look and you see that your pubic bone is now higher, take a moment here in this curled position and drop the tailbone down and feel what that feels like for your ab engagement, and then lower back down. And that's really the only way that you're gonna get better at it, is if you notice on yourself that you're cheating, and then you can fix it and then go down. And then that way you'll get stronger and stronger every time you do it. Okay, so that is a quick tutorial on neutral pelvis. And I hope that that helps you gain some of that strength in those lower abdominals and makes a little bit more sense as you're going through future videos. Thank you. See you next time.